Alright, so tonight's video is about multiplying tens, hundreds, and thousands. And we ask ourselves, how can place value help me multiply tens, hundreds, and thousands? One way to do this is to use a model. So when given a problem, like each car on a train has 200 seats, how many seats are on a train with 8 cars? We can simply draw a quick picture. And we've drawn each one of these equals 100 seats. So because it says that each car on a train has 200 seats, we've organized them into rows of 200, and there comes out to be 8 cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, each one having 200 seats, for a total of 16 hundreds. And using place value, we can write 8 times 200 equals 8 times 2 hundreds, which is the same as 16 hundreds. And when written out in standard form, that is 1600 or 1600 because of the comma. So there are 1600 seats on the train. We can also use the number line to solve problems like this. For example, the shop rents 4,000 sleds each month. How many sleds in 6 months? So it rents 4,000 each month. But we want to know how many in 6 months. Notice I'm just underlining the key information. So we use multiplication, which is the same thing as repeated addition, shown here on this number line. And this is the basic fact that we try to think of. Well, if we know that 6 times 4 is 24, by going add 4, add 4, add 4, add 4, until we do that 6 times, we get to 24. Simply by thinking of this basic fact, we can use this fact to solve for how many are in 4,000. So we simply imagine, well, if 6 times 4 is 24, what happens if I put an extra 0 on the end and change this into, instead of 4, I turn this into 40, this into 80, this into 120, 160, 200, and 240 by adding a 0 to here, because this is 40 and 40 more and 40 more and 40 more and so on. Instead of just adding 4, we are adding 40 each time we jump. And if we were to add another 0, you could see what would happen. I don't have another color, but this would turn into 400, 800, 1200, 1600, 2000, and 2400 or 2400. And that's because we were jumping at 400 at a time, adding 400 or multiplying by 400. Now I've gone ahead and gone in and added the next set of zeros because we were supposed to be doing it by 4,000. We were only up to 400. So now we're jumping by 4,000s, repeated addition, which is the same thing as multiplying by 4,000. And we wind up with 24,000, which moves my comma here because there should be a comma between each 3-digit period. So just ignore my little green one there. Okay, let's continue with basic fact knowledge now. It says, think if 3 times 7 is 21, then 3 times 70 would be 210. Notice there's an additional 0 after the 7, and there's an additional 0 after the 21. Same amount of zeros. And 3 times 700 ends up being 2100. And 3 times 7,000 ends up being 21,000. I think you can probably easily see the pattern when we lay it out this way. And here's one practice for you to try on your own. Pause the video and then check your work. And hopefully yours turned out like mine and you're noticing a pattern. As you add zeros to one of the factors, more zeros turn out in your product. And the same amount of zeros in your factors should be the same amount of zeros in your product. They should match. All right, don't forget to do the test question, and I'll see you in the morning.